It's so assuring when a leader stands up and says, mark my words, trust me, that's the kind of direction we need. We'll very quickly set up the stage for a very interesting conversation that's going to happen between Shekhar Bhai Patel himself. वापस आना पड़ेगा sir, because ये आंकड़े जो आपने शेयर किए हैं, इस पे पकड़ आप ही की है. तो इसके related questions आप ही को जवाब देना पड़ेगा, right? I would also like to invite on stage Mr. Getamber Anand, the chairman ATS Infra, and Mr. Boman, Irani President CREDAI, to please join us on stage. And as moderator, we have Mr. Nimish Arora. Please put your hands together. Interesting data, interesting perspectives. Now it's time to dig deep and understand how do we make this happen? What are the things that we need to keep in mind so that we run between these two tracks and reach our destination? So that's this discussion that all of us have been waiting for. So I'm going to make a little curve of the chairs so that it's easy for them to have a conversation.
Check. Good afternoon, everyone. Shekhar Bhai, thank you so much for bringing in the energy in the room. I think the time is now, the time is here for each one of us to take inspiration from these statistics that you've just presented. The data is mind-blowing. And I think we are just at the tip of the iceberg right now. And there is so much more to do. So thank you for sharing that and telling us that the future is bright and there is a lot to be done. I will put my first question. I don't think anybody needs any introduction on the dais, so I'll straight away jump to the questions. Getamber ji, you've been a stalwart in the industry and you have grown your business like how. We just saw how China grew from 2007 to 2017. A lot of that was driven by a lot of support from the government, huge credit supply that the Chinese government created for the economy, as well as creating new cities and infrastructure. And we are seeing a lot of similar trends now emulating in India. What do we as developers, one, and second, what does the government need to do to take us for us to really ride that same curve, the hockey stick? How do we achieve that? What is your message to the young developers and everybody sitting in this room to do to get there? Three things.
शेखर बहुत बढ़िया प्रेजेंटेशन, मजा आ गया देख के. आज एक और राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज मांगता है. जान है तो इतना लंबा क्वेश्चन निमिष, इसमें तो सारी स्लाइड्स के आंसर आ जाएंगे. हाँ, मैं छोटा सा बोलता हूँ तो so basically what is in it for us, you know, and what does the government need to do? दो तीन मेरे जो खास takeaways हैं, which I think the CREDAI leadership now needs to work on. तो क्या है कि opportunity हमने देख ली, but all of us are not listed players and players who have access to funds to buy land. अभी दोनों मेरे भाई इधर बैठे थे listed, but आवाम जो है, most of us do not have access to funds to buy land. So what does CREDAI need to do is, you see, if we are paying out of every 100 rupees of sale, 44 rupees as tax, then the real estate sector funding from banks needs to be changed and separated from normal lending. Because the biggest tragedy is that we go and borrow from institutions to buy land. When we borrow, if in case there's a downturn in the market, it could be a cash flow issue and not a solvency issue. So the government needs to realize that for real estate, whenever you're lending money, the NPA norms have to be different. The asset class is the most superior. क्योंकि ज़मीन के भाव बढ़ेंगे ही बढ़ेंगे. आज भी हम देख रहे हैं, जहाँ भी ज़मीनें आज की वैल्यू और 5 साल बाद पहले की वैल्यू बहुत फ़र्क है. So the lender need not worry about the asset class. So they need to change, and CREDAI needs to work on this to change the mindset of the RBI to have a slightly different norm for classifying NPAs of real estate. That would have some, for most of our members, access to capital to buy land is very necessary, and they would be able to access that capital if these norms are changed. Even क्यों Shekhar and Boman, I think the lending institutions would change perspective थोड़ा सा अगर इसमें change आता है. अभी मैं इतना ही बोलता हूँ. Let's continue the conversation.
Baman bhai, my next question to you. 3 messages for the youth developers. How do they gear up to ride this growth and achieve this growth? What do they need to do to really go up and up?
See, first of all, I think this growth is imminent. History shows US did it on the back of real estate immediately after World War II, okay, number one. Then came Japan. They rode this cycle for almost 15 years, unabated and absolutely milked it. The third ones to do it were Korea, then there was China, and China has taught us so much more. I think we all just need to start. You're asking what are the 3 things that we need to do as give guidance to the
Or
youth?
not do, maybe.
First of all, accept it. There is a lot of short-term disbelief we have. First of all, accept it कि ये होने वाला है. Second, start building your teams. I think we had a lovely session where, Mr. Pillai told us about friends. I think the friend is also in the team. You can't do everything, okay? Build that team. Third is be studied. And when I say be studied means, don't just take this report for what it is. I've got a very able Aditya down here who kind of took one of the slides and said, sir, we need to analyze this. It is to be understood at your level what is done, because real estate is a very wide term today. It is no longer just homes or offices. It's everything: data centers, co-working spaces, old age, senior living, as Vishal likes to call it, senior living homes. It is second homes. It is so much more, right? Don't try to ride everything. Don't try and get your hands around everything. They say the future belongs to the specialist. Go into the niche and understand what it is that you all want to do. I don't know where I'm 4th, 5th point, whatever, but stop being callous. Start focusing more and more in your business. This business has gone from dekhenge hota hai to absolutely compliance-led. As a matter of fact, we are aware of the amount of time that we spend ourselves on compliance issues. Be compliant. Only a compliant company will grow in an economy like this, because with growth comes all the, side trappings of growth and all the shortcuts that people take. But the government will clamp down really hard because it's people's hard-earned money. So be compliant. Build inner strength in the company. I don't know, I could go on and on. If not for Darshan Bhai next, who I really want to hear, I would have requested that this report be actually debated. I would have broken this team up into, 5 or 7 or 10 small groups and said, please, all of you, read it for the next half an hour, discuss internally, and come back. And yeah, the one last thing, which Shantilal ji had said at, I think, Nasik, or I don't remember which of the conferences. He said we tend to take or start having too much fun when the going is good. I think it is time to put our nose down to our business, be focused on it, spend more quality time. Like, Chandubhai said yesterday, he enjoys his work so much, he doesn't need to take the breaks that people talk about. Start enjoying your work. Be in this business if it means something to you. Otherwise, please move out. There are other businesses you can do. You have this morning when I was reading the report, Shekhar, I had rongte khade ho gaye the sare. That is the kind of opportunity. We all talk about it, but you put it in numbers. I thank you for it. And I suggest that each one of you spread these numbers out to your teams. Harsh will write a book on it. And get the message out to everybody. It was really fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. I think, with this kind of growth projected, there comes a lot of responsibility of taking it the right way. While China saw the growth, we have also read a lot of, news articles in the last few years of a lot of developers going into default situations and a lot of ghost cities. We have all seen YouTube videos of ghost cities. And you mentioned about 28 crore homes that the country needs. So what do we, and this is my question to all three of you, what do we as developers do to create the right kind of supply so that we don't end up in a default situation like a lot of developers in China?
So we need to be very, very clear about what we want to sell. We need to be very, very clear about the demand. So the slide which Shekhar had shown us about the size of apartment going up to 1300 square foot after 2023 and the 45 lakh bracket buyer also increasing. The tragedy is कि जब market उठनी शुरू होती है, and what we need to be careful about. जैसे NCR की बात करते हैं. I am saying NCR and not any other region because we are seeing it happening over here. About a year ago, the average price in Gurgaon and Noida was below 10,000 rupees a square foot of apartment. Then came these launches where 400 apartments sold in 3 days, 15,000, 16,000, 17,000. It's not stopping, and that's dangerous. Why? Taking from your slide, 1300 square foot का apartment. अगर मेरे को 10,000 रुपए, वो तो आज खैर नहीं मिलेगा यहाँ NCR में, 12,000 रुपए लीजिए, तो आप 1.5 करोड़ रुपए का टिकट साइज की बात कर रहे हैं. जबकि डिमांड 1300 स्क्वायर फुट की अपार्टमेंट, कार्पेट एरिया नहीं, फिर भी शेखर 1300 कार्पेट एरिया इज समथिंग विच एनी फैमिली एस्पायर्स, जिसके हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड 2 किड्स एंड 1 ग्रैंड पेरेंट, 1300 कार्पेट एरिया से कम नहीं चलेगा, एटलीस्ट इन दी NCR. So if your ticket size is going to 1.5 crore rupees, you are creating a problem for the market, not just for yourself. Because this is what happened. Remember when we were told by government prices, kam karo, kam karo, kam karo. Let the rise be steady. Let it be linked to inflation. Let it not be linked to greed. Let it not be linked to what the other person is doing. अरे इन्होंने launch किया, इतने में launch किया, 2 दिन में बिक गए, 3 दिन में बिक गए. अगर वैसे हम सब सोचने लग गए, तो short term gain possible है, लेकिन लॉन्ग टर्म नुकसान ही है, बिकॉज आपका कस्टमर भाग जाएगा. मैं आपको बताता हूं कैसे. अगेन आई एम टेकिंग द एग्जांपल ऑफ NCR मार्केट. व्हाट इज हैपनिंग हियर? ट्रूली देयर इज अ ग्रेट डिमांड, देयर इज अ यूफोरिया, द स्पिरिट इज वेरी हाई इन द customer, but is the customer an end user or is the customer an investor? For us, an investor is a good word, but the end user is actually who we aspire to give our product to. And today, when there's a launch where everything is getting sold in 3 days, 4 days, what is happening is these launches are selling apartments at a high rate, but on a payment plan, on a scheme, where you pay something now, then on structure, then on possession. So this kind of a plan is there for 2 reasons. Because the investor seeks to exit while the construction is going on. So वो कहता है मैं profit बना के बाहर निकल जाऊंगा, उसके बाद मैं किसी और को बेचूंगा, किसी और को बेचूंगा, और जो end user है वो 4 flips के बाद end user खरीदेगा. किस भाव पे खरीदेगा? वो सोचते हैं कि वो खरीद लेगा 2x, 3x पे. ऐसा नहीं होता. और ऐसा गुड़गांव में हमने देखा कि ऐसा पीछे मार्केट इसीलिए गिरी थी, पहुंच गई थी ऊपर 15-16 हजार, फिर आ गई below 10,000. So this is a wrong approach to business, to real estate. Secondly, if in case investors are in your project who are on a plan, somewhere if you don't get construction finance, your construction is going to get hit because you will not be able to reach that next milestone. So we have to be careful about these things. Increase your prices steadily. Don't just jump 20-30% in 4, 5, 6 months. It's not a good business strategy. The opportunity is there. Let's be scientific how we approach it. We should be scientific as to how we approach it. And of course, like all of us have been saying, study the risk, etc., etc. It's very, very necessary to know who your customer is. उसकी खरीदने की हिम्मत कितनी है, किस टिकट साइज में कितना बड़ा फ्लैट खरीद सकता है. Just going by what has happened in 2-3 launches in one geography is not the formula. That's all I want to say.
Boman bhai, would you like to add, give another perspective?
First of all, I agree with Getamber. We are stupid if we keep on increasing prices just because we can. Your replenishment cost will cost you more if the last flat that you have sold at, I don't know, 22 or 25, the next land you go to buy, the guy is only going to quote 25. He will not see that you started off at 11, 15, wherever you started. He'll say, "Sab, aapne to 25 mein becha, 25 ka ek rate ban gaya." Why would you do this to yourself? Your margins don't improve. Why? Right? So don't ever do it. But I made a few other things because you asked about China and I had some time to reflect. First of all, I want everyone to start understanding that you need to start creating. Stop building. Start creating. Each one of you is leaving a mark of what you are for posterity, at least much beyond your time. Maybe not 2,000 years, Mr. Pillai, but at least concrete structures will stand for the next 150 years. You're creating a mark, right? Leave a mark. Second, be a part of a team. Because if you think you know it alone, you're not. Whether it is your internal team or this set of people. Be a part of that team. Walk together. Build capacity. One of the biggest problems we'll face. Do you know Indian labor gets picked up to go abroad and rebuild Gaza, rebuild God knows which other parts of the world which are under strife? I think I said this yesterday. We need to build that capacity of our workmen out here. Otherwise, we'll all face problems. And again, the cost of construction or our manpower will go up. It should go up, but not what alarming rates can be. I want to tell you a philosophical point also, which is very, very important. And you may not believe it. Stop the rich-poor divide. Work towards actually taking everybody with you. Prosperity, the effects of prosperity are best enjoyed when everybody's, income levels start rising, when everybody moves to a better way of life. I think China made some mistakes. We can learn from those, and we can possibly ride the tiger much better than anyone else.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but this is a debate, I think, which will keep going on and we'll keep working on it. The message is loud and clear. There is a lot of work for all of us to do. We are in the right time at the industry. And as Dr. Pillai guided and inspired us in the morning, I think it's time for all of us to make our businesses 30 times before we pass it on to our next generation. So good luck to all. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you so much. And over to you.